I now, of course, have the honor and privilege of introducing someone who needs no introduction, Richard Dawkins. And I wanted to start, Richard, by asking you, sort of, in the context of evolution, what something from nothing means to you.
So, getting something from nothing, Charles Darwin gives us all confidence. Charles Darwin showed that what must have seemed the most difficult problem of getting something from nothing was soluble. He solved it, and his successors have been simply fleshing out his explanation ever since.
But I think you're not being fair to Darwin. I think in a sense it's something from nothing. I mean, completely nothing. In the sense that every time a new... Take humans. We weren't around. Perhaps more than maybe 5 to 10 million years ago. And so, in a sense, every time a new species is created, it's something from nothing.
Well, it's not from nothing, because it's from an antecedent species, and even the evolutionary process, the process that Darwin discovered, didn't start from nothing. It had to start from, well, a reasonably complicated chemical beginning, which was the first self-replicating molecule. You can't, I mean, natural selection can't get going until you have genetics, and so you've got to have genetics. And that's not a trivial problem, and it's a problem that actually hasn't yet been solved. No, you have to start from a genetics, and that's one of the big gaps in our knowledge at the moment. Nobody knows how that started. The laws of chemistry somehow had to give rise to a self-replicating molecule. Once you've got that, at least a sufficiently accurately self-replicating molecule, then evolution takes off. And then the whole of the panoply of life, the whole diversity of life, and things like you and me eventually come into existence. But you have got to start with a genetics, and that pushes it into the domain of chemistry. And then before that, before chemistry, we push back into the domain of physics, where you guys take over.
But let's keep pushing on that point, because at some point, I thought of this in the context of the universe, and we may talk about it in a while, but there was no life on Earth when it was created, and there was no life potentially for maybe a few 100 million years. But then there was life. And so there's the moment when you go from chemistry to biology. It seems to me at some point that for many people, in fact, when they talk about something from nothing again, especially those who feel that the something requires a creator, that the origin of life itself, that is the creation of something from nothing.
Yeah, the Earth is about 4.5 billion years old, and we don't know when life began, but probably after about 500 million years, but probably around about 4 billion years. For the next couple of billion years, there were nothing but bacteria. And then, so life that you couldn't see without a microscope. And then life started getting sort of big and interesting, really only about 500 million years ago, at the time of the Cambrian explosion.
وإن تطع أكثر من في الأرض يضلوك عن سبيل الله إن يتبعون إلا الظن وإن هم إلا يخرصون إن ربك هو أعلم من يضل عن سبيله وهو أعلم بالمهتدين.
A huge sphere of 12.756 kilometers in radius is moving rapidly in the space in a speed of almost 68,000 miles per hour. It is called the Earth. The Earth is surrounded by an atmosphere of 5 layers, consisting of hydrogen, oxygen, and inert gases. At the same time, the Earth rotates around its axis at 1,000 miles per hour. I will not speak about the greatness of the universe or the incredible galaxies, which the Earth looks like a speck of dust on the foothill of Everest in comparison to them. and I will not speak about the countless numbers of light years with endless zeros. I have heard a lot of talking from the atheists in the world, but the thing they say, and I did not understand until now, is that they do not believe in God because they cannot see Him. I do not know how they cannot see Him, while I can see the creation of God all the time, in every inch around me. Why does water have very unique properties in comparison to all other liquids? Why does Earth rotate in definite speed and in an accurate angle? Example, 23.5 degrees. Why is the Sun located at such an enormous distance and has such high temperature? Why the atmosphere has certain components in specific measures? When you ponder on the answers to these questions, you will see the great Creator revealing Himself clearly. The Earth rotates around its axis at 1,000 miles per hour. Assuming that this speed decreases to 200 miles per hour, for instance, our night and day times would be 10 times longer. The temperature at the daytime would continue to increase till we burn, and the temperature at the night would continue to decrease until we freeze. Humans would not be able to organize their time, sleep, and work during the very long daylights or the darkness of night. All of the measures in this planet are regularized and adjusted for the benefits of one creature, the only creature that has a mind capable of understanding and realizing. Is there a message to us from the One who has created all this? Why the only liquid necessary for life is also the only liquid that decreases in density when it freezes, and then it floats. If water was exactly like the rest of liquids in terms of characteristics, the seas, rivers, and oceans would totally freeze, and fish and animals of seas and oceans would die. Without the sun, we would not be able to live on this planet. It is a sterilizer and light. The temperature on the surface of the sun is 12,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and the distance between the sun and Earth is nearly 93 million miles. This enormous distance is constant. It never changes, whether to increase or decrease. If it decreases and the sun becomes nearer to the Earth, half of the distance, for example, the paper and wood will immediately burn. And if the distance increases to the double, the severe coldness which will happen because of the big distance will end life on Earth. If you realize these facts, you will also realize that there is a merciful Lord that organized such delicate, punctual messiahs on our planet in a system that suits us in a specific way to make our lives easy and smooth. This Earth rotates around the Sun in an angle of 23.5 degrees. This leads to the succession of seasons, and it also causes the suitability of the land for cultivation and housing. If Earth was not rotating in such accurate angle, the seasons would remain constant in every part of the Earth, and darkness would cover the two poles. The steam of seas will travel to the north and south. The snowy mountains will spread in some regions, and the arid deserts in other regions. The only way to avoid this is the rotation of the Earth in the space in an angle of 23.5 degrees. If the atmosphere has less thickness or different components, the meteors that we see bright at night, moving in the space 90 times faster than the bullet, would have penetrated the atmosphere, burning everything on Earth. The amazing thing is that the atmosphere only allows very nominal amounts of solar radiation important for the growth of plants, elimination of germs, and other needs for the Earth. Is nature capable of regulating all these specific measurements and definite dates to suit us? This balance of quantities needed for the life on Earth is very amazing. The air consists of 6 gases, 78% nitrogen and 21% oxygen. Why these gases were formed in such accurate percentages to be suitable to our lives and exactly as needed? If this existence was not under the dominance of a mighty, great, and wise Creator, then why does it have such amazing, balanced soul? As if everything is just gathered to play a harmonious symphony. This symphony is only for us. The answer is quite simple. He is the ever-wise. He is the ever-magnificent. He is the ever-great, the eternal owner of sovereignty, the owner of majesty and bounty. He is Allah.
There is nothing bigger or older than the universe. The questions I would like to talk about are: 1. Where did we come from? How did the universe come into being? Everyone thought the universe was essentially static and unchanging in time. Then it was discovered that the universe was expanding. Then it was discovered that the universe was expanding.
والسماء بنيناها بأيد وإنا لموسعون
والسماء بنيناها بأيد وإنا لموسعون.
Distant galaxies were moving away from us. This meant they must have been closer together in the past. If we extrapolate back, we find they must have all been on top of each other about 15 billion years ago. This was the Big Bang, the beginning of the universe. This was the Big Bang, the beginning of the universe.
أولم ير الذين كفروا أن السماوات والأرض كانتا رتقا ففتقناهما وجعلنا من الماء كل شيء حي أفلا يؤمنون.